Not sure exactly how to start this, but here goes nothing, I guess. I'll just introduce myself. My name is JC. Those of you that might have already subscribed to this channel see a lot of some video game stuff, some wrestling things, and other random videos that might have just shown up when I made a YouTube channel, but didn't really have much direction with it. Now, I do have a green screen behind me. Normally, we're recording a WrestleCast that we do, Countdown City Geeks YouTube channel. But my wife had an idea, and we kind of talked through it and just wanted to kind of start this and see how it goes. I was diagnosed a little over a year and a half with Crohn's disease. And my story is very, I don't know how best I can describe it. When I first heard that I had it, or when I first found out that I had it, I did some research on it, looking at videos and what exactly it is. And yeah, I see a lot of videos out there of people that Crohn's Chronicles and the ultra healthy thing, and a lot of health nuts out there. And yeah, there are some people that have kind of go through their everyday life, but some of those people have been going through it for years and years. Some of them as kids, that sort of thing. And I feel like there was a lot of stories out there that I couldn't completely relate to, as much as, I think we're connected with having IBD. This is still something new to me. I'll kind of give you a little backstory on what happened. This is right at the beginning of the new year, 2018. And I weighed about 270 pounds. And I was kind of making my own New Year's resolution that anybody does. I wasn't like forefront about it myself. I was like, hey, I need to lose some weight. I need to get healthy. 2017, we just had our second kid, our son. His 1-year-old's birthday is going to be coming up in March. And I was about to turn 37 that March as well. So, shortly after the new year, okay, let's kind of change the diet around. I didn't eat a whole lot. I didn't drink a whole lot of sodas anyway. Cut back on a lot of sweets, just kind of drink water, not too much of the tea, that sort of thing. And not too much dairy either, just kind of, thinking, all right, let's start with the basics, I guess, start with the diet. Maybe try and walk a little more, take the stairs when I go to work, that sort of thing, even though I didn't really have stairs. I was on the first floor. But shortly after the new year, I started getting diarrhea. And I don't mean to like gross people out, but when you have a disease such as Crohn's, it does get a little embarrassing to talk about it. But for me, I think for most people, what's going to help you is to talk about it. And I see a lot of videos out there of people that just can't relate. So, one sec. My son decided, okay, now he's back in bed. All right. Kids. So that was happening, and, I was like, figured, okay, who knows? Maybe I ate something. Maybe it was the chili I made for the New Year's Eve party that we had. And who knows? So, wasn't feeling too good. It was kind of off and on. It was like, okay. And, kept up with the diet that I said I was going to, and I started losing weight. Didn't think much of it. I felt okay. But the diarrhea was still kind of there. Did make a trip to Dallas to visit my sister. Came back and actually went to a wrestling show with my dad, which was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I think shortly after that show, I was starting to feel it a little more. Something just wasn't right, but I thought maybe you'd gotten sick. The flu, who knows? So the flu had kind of been going around a bit. I went to a med clinic. They tested me for the flu. Didn't find anything there anyways. Thought maybe I had some sort of like stomach virus or something. Went into work, just kind of dealt with it. And even to the point where I had a party here in my house for the Royal Rumble. And I was just really feeling horrible. Prior to that, I was real sick, couldn't go into work. And thankfully, with my job, I could work from home. And was pretty much just lying down the whole time. Wasn't really able to help as far as like getting food ready. And then that night, my wife just decided, okay, I need to take you to the hospital. Something's not right. she took me to the hospital. Thankfully, my parents came over and watched the kids, and they, oh my gosh, the whole ordeal, the nightmare ordeal, I guess you can say, begins because they just ran tests here and there. Said my potassium was low, gave me all those big ass horse pills, and pumped me full of IV fluids, and said, "You probably just have a stomach bug. It'll go away. Just give it time, and then just send me home." I, waited in a waiting room late at night, 4 hours, sitting there in the ER, and then going home and not feeling a whole lot better, just pumped full of fluids, and it really didn't help. So set up an appointment with a family doctor, which I'll be honest with you, I hadn't really gone to doctors. I hadn't really done any of that. I mean, I go to the dentist. With the doctor thing, at the age I was, 36, I don't know, I guess maybe you still have some feeling that maybe you're a little invincible too, that you always have in your youth, right? But, so I went, first visit, it's all looking good. He recommends, ultras. I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff. I can't remember. There was a lot. But, I'm not able to get an appointment for that until like a couple weeks down the road. And a blood test here and there. And I hate needles. And then it doesn't get any better. And then finally my wife says, okay, we need to go back. It's just not right. So I'm frustrated at this point. This is basically like a week, almost a week and a half later, and nothing has changed for me. I'm barely eating. My wife was freaking out because I was eating basically little pouches of banana that my son has, because it was really all I could keep down. Maybe a sandwich here and there, something light, And I really wasn't weighing myself, but I had lost a lot of weight too. And yeah, initially when I'm losing the weight prior in January, I'm thinking, hey, I must be doing something right. But this was different. Go back to the hospital and I basically say, you know what? I'm not leaving until you guys tell me what the hell is wrong with me. Because you sent me home and nothing you guys recommend worked. So here we go. More tests, x-rays, blood tests, urine samples, another horse pill, everything here and there. And then finally they admit me, but they not sure if I have something that's like completely hazardous. The weirdest thing, like doctors had to put aprons on, gloves on. My own wife did too, just to come visit me. And then finally, they said I'm clear, but nothing crazy contagious. But I couldn't even leave the hospital room to use the bathroom at this point because it was bad. So finally, a GI doctor comes in, gastrointestinal. Never met one in my life, but his name is Dr. Rabine, and kind of just said, "Here's what they've done, and here's what we could possibly be." And I said, "Look, I still don't know what it is. I need to know." He says, "Okay, well, you bought yourself a colonoscopy." I said, "Great, whatever it takes at this point." Anyone that's been affected with IBD knows a colonoscopy can be a nightmare. First off, that drink that they make you drink, it's like a gallon of this sugary, it's crap. I can't. They tell you they're trying to pretend it's a margarita. No. Lemonade. No. It's just, I can't even describe it. You're just trying to keep it down. And prior to this, the doctors had already put me on a liquid diet anyway, just because they didn't know what was going on. So my system was pretty cleared out, but they're making me chug this thing. I get admitted to a formal hospital room, and then, okay, colonoscopy's coming 2 days later. They're doing an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. And having to drink this thing. It says, okay, here's the time frame. You have to drink at least half of it by now, and then half, And at this point, I had so much abdominal pain, so much stomach pain. Like, I literally have never in my life taken any painkillers, any morphine, just, Tylenol here and there. I've had like maybe one broken bone in my broken bone in my life, and never ever, dealt any of that stuff. And I actually, for once, needed morphine just so I could sleep. That's how much pain my stomach was in. So I got half the drink done. Says, okay, can I have some morphine just so I can use it to go to bed? And the morphine knocks me out, but maybe for a few hours. and then that stuff is literally hitting you. That stuff you're forced to drink. I mean, it gets you. It clears your system out. So I'm basically having to chug it. The next morning, I said, no, you have to finish it by this time. You can't even drink water. You have to be completely cleared out. And I'm telling the nurses, like, look, next time I use the bathroom, can y'all check to see if I'm good? Because I really cannot finish this thing. So use the bathroom. She said, yeah, you're fine. So, okay, good. Give me some more morphine so I can take a nap before I have to go into the surgery room or the operating room, whatever. And that was weird. That was... my wife has told me that was a scary point. She wasn't sure if I was going to live. That was scary for me only because I didn't know what was wrong with me. I couldn't sleep at all. I miss my kids being in the hospital, you know. And finally, you know, going to the operating room, putting me under, explaining what's going on. So it's going to be real quick. They're going to knock you out, scope, do all this stuff, and find out what's going on. This is okay. So they knock me out. They tell you to count to 10. I maybe made it to 3 or 4, and I was done. And waking up with my wife's face there, and saying, hey, and instantly, the first thing I remember when I woke up was my stomach didn't hurt anymore. And that was such a relief, because for almost like a week, that had just been nothing but stomach pains. I could barely sleep, and it was just it was just painful. You know, it was just constant, like a headache, but down here. And after the colonoscopy, everything it felt like he just cleaned everything out. And whatever was bothering me was just gone. That was such a relief. And then doctor comes in, not even a minute after I'd already woken up, feeling good, feeling conscious a bit. And he asks if I'm, I ask him, okay, what's going on? He says, from what I'm seeing, it's moderate to severe Crohn's disease. And that I've had it probably at least 2 years up to that point. And I didn't know a thing about it. Never heard of it. Never even heard of colitis until they told me before that might have been an option. That might have been a possible diagnosis. Never knew what it was, but it freaked me out because if the disease has named after somebody, it's either the first person that got it, or the doctor that discovered it, and it's usually never good. So, okay, Crohn's disease. Now I know what it is. There's a little bit of relief there. So they sent me back to the hospital room. Again, liquid diet instructions. And my sister, who had moved to Dallas, flew back just to see me, and I'm so grateful she was there. She was the first family member besides my wife who found out what I had, and told my parents about it. And I just remember, they came to visit. They brought my kids. My daughter was happy to see me, but scared at the same time. She didn't like seeing her dad like that. And I think that was, people had told me before, by this point she's 3.5, and people had told me before, like, she adores you and this and that. She's just such a big daddy's girl. Maybe I didn't fully see it until that was going on. And I found out, at times she was acting up at daycare and acting up at home. She really missed me. And yeah, now I understood. Oh, someone's here. 1 second. Hi, I'm back. So where was I? Just got diagnosed, seeing family there, my kids, my daughter. Yeah, she's definitely a daddy's girl after that experience. I see it more now. But that first night, I knew what it was. I knew it was called something. I didn't know what exactly that entailed. But all I could think about was literally, this is getting like 6 or 7 o'clock, and I'm just finally able to sleep. And he says, I'm glad everyone's here. I'm just exhausted. And I fell asleep at 7. I think my wife stayed over the night there in the hospital room with me. This was February 13th, 2018 when I was diagnosed. And I finally fell asleep at 7, and I remember just passing out. Whether they came in to check any vitals on me, I have no idea, because I know they do that in hospitals at all hours of the night, especially when you're deep sleep. But I didn't wake up until 4 in the morning. And I felt so good because I hadn't slept like that in so long without the aid of morphine or anything like that. So the first thing I did when I woke up was grab my phone and say, okay, what the hell is Crohn's disease? What exactly is this? How is my life going to change? And that's what I did. I looked up what it was. What am I able to eat? And it says, okay, no wheat, no dairy. I already kind of cut that out. No red meat, no flour. A lot of stuff that, I think people sometimes take for granted that they can eat. And I never had any food allergy or sort of thing before in my life. And then it finally understood, okay, now I do, in some sense. It's not really a food allergy, but a medical restriction, I guess you could say. And I don't want to end up back there. I don't want to end up back in the hospital. It's all diet at this point. And that's my life now. That's how it's going to be. A lot of things are going to change for me, and I understood that. And in a way, I'd say it's been a blessing. So, great, wake up on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, babe. Your husband's in the hospital. But feeling better instantly the next day, knowing the relief, what it is. The GI doctor sees me the next day, says, I look like I'm feeling better, and I am. And he's just kind of going over the steps with me, possible medications, already taking the prednisone to start because, he said moderate to severe. How I never flared up in the 2 years that he thinks I had it before, I have no idea. What's even more remarkable is I was 36 at the time, less than a month away from my 37th birthday when I was diagnosed, which is already past the threshold when most people are diagnosed. And this is something that they say is genetic, and I'm the first in my family that's ever been diagnosed with it, which is a shock to me, But yeah, the fear is already there. And I think most people have this fear if they were in my position who have kids. Are my kids going to get this? Are they going to pass this? Am I going to pass this on? And it hurts. It sucks. So, but that's my life now. Finally got to go home weighing around 217 pounds, losing over 50 pounds in a matter of a month and a half. And getting home, I remember finally just getting a full shower, not in a hospital room shower, but a full shower. Barely able to lift my leg because I was just felt so weak. I lost so much weight. And looking in the mirror and just not recognizing who I was. Just because I was so skinny and frail. I mean, my dad took me to a barber shop to get a haircut and a shave, and that was a relief. But I got home and I just, wow, such a big change. I know I've got a green screen back here. I don't know if I'm going to use it, but if I do, I'll probably throw a picture of what a before and after. What I like to jokingly say is my BC life before Crohn's and AD life after diagnosis. Some of the weight's come back on. Eating a little healthier now, and people are wondering and often asking me, how do you go without hamburgers? How do you go without like Whataburger? I'm in Texas. How do you not have a Whataburger for so long? And that's life, no cheese, that sort of thing. Don't really eat anything that's cooked in canola oil. So many things. I've read so many ingredient labels. It's insane now. But I think in that respect, I'm a bit blessed because if I had gotten this younger in life, I would have still had the feeling of invincibility. If I had gotten in my early 20s when I was in college, I would have been like, whatever, I'll be okay. And probably would have had like half my intestines removed for all I know. But being the age that I am getting diagnosed, I feel like that told me something that, okay, I'm at a point in my life where I have a wife who's always there for me, supports me, is going to be in my corner, and is going to look after me. and I look after her. And I have my kids. I have a reason to get healthy, even more so, not just my wife, but for them, to be around for them. And taking my diet very seriously has been my motivation for that. And that's helped my health. What sucks is that like a few weeks later, maybe like a week or so before my 37th birthday, about when I'm going to try and go back to work, I collapsed here at home. Not knowing that I had already become anemic as well, due to the blood loss from diarrhea and the flare-ups that I had. There's a lot of ulcers in my intestines. Basically, I lost a lot of blood. So, heart rate was running high. My dad gave me his old Garmin heart rate monitor smartwatch, and it was running in the 120s, which is insane. So back in the hospital I go. Only this time there was, the whole EKGs. They ran CAT scans, X-rays, even had an ultrasound to make sure my heart was okay. Although I jokingly said there was a second heartbeat in there, I was going to be rich. There wasn't, just one. And dealing with all that and still losing blood a bit at a time. Finally, honestly, I didn't find out what my blood type was until then, because they had to type it and I had to get a blood transfusion, which was, like I mentioned before, I hate needles. I hate it. It's just, for me anyway, it's the worst part about it, because every 6 months or so, I got to go before an appointment with my GI and just get poked and blood drawn, and that's not fun for me. But anyway, getting blood put in you late at night, and it was scary, any kind of new thing. I mentioned my broken arm. I had to have surgery to get it back in place when I was 8 years old. That was a bit scary. Colonoscopy itself, prepping for that was scary. The blood transfusion, a bit scary. But felt good after. Actually had to take iron pills, and found those blood builder pills my wife did, actually. My wife has been really good about researching this, finding stuff for that. My blood's back to normal, finding meal ideas as well. But that's really how it got started for me. I went back to work. Oh, I got out of the hospital on my birthday. That was a great birthday present. But now, when I'm trying to find a place to eat, when people want to go somewhere, I got to go online, look at the menu, see if there's anything I can eat, what I can eat. Constantly looking at restaurants to see where I can go. Finding the sports bars of football season that I can go to and eat at. Twin Peaks is actually one of them. They got really good food that's Crohn's friendly, by the way. Check it out. That's kind of the struggle, really. Can't drink beer. Not that I was a heavy drinker anyway, but that's life, right? And that's really an essence of how this got started for me. I'm lucky, I say, to have support of family, friends. I mentioned the green screen. I do record a weekly show about wrestling with some friends and my wife, and it's been a great form of therapy for me. To talk about it, just to talk about anything, to like a hobby, something I've wanted to do for so long, and we're coming up on doing this for a full year, and it's been a blast, and it's helped me cope with a lot of things. But being here, getting to keep living, I guess you could say, and living healthier, you'd be surprised how much better you feel when you cut gluten out, when you drink kombucha because it's full of probiotics, and when you cut dairy out of your diet. You feel fuller. You're not as tired easier, maybe a bit more relaxed as well. That's definitely been a welcome change in my life. Weight wise, I'm at about 225 now, and staying there. I'm around what I weighed in high school, which is the weirdest thing to me. Never thought I'd be back at that weight. But why this video? Why this? I guess playlist on my channel. I wanted to, for those of us that don't have the crazy IBD, Crohn's disease stories of, you have to eat super healthy or working out constantly, that sort of thing. I'm not saying I'm normal. We're all weird in our own way, but I guess for my normal is what's my everyday life. How do I go to normal restaurants? How do I shop for food? What are some things I look for? I don't know if this is going to be some like weekly thing or whatever. It might be like short things I record on my phone. Maybe if I eventually get a GoPro, I can record that as well. But my idea is just really seeing how life is for me now. Any normal person that might have gotten diagnosed later in their life than most people normally do. And how do you cope with it? How do you deal with it? Since my diagnosis, I've improved a lot, as I mentioned. Went to see a nutritionist who I don't have to visit anymore, but she's been very helpful as far as getting my diet down. And she recommends me. She talks about, basically uses my example as the model patient when she's talking to other clients that she has. Just how I've adjusted to life with Crohn's. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I haven't thought of a name for this. Maybe it'll be life with Crohn's or something like that. I don't know, but I'll kind of post videos here and there. What I look for at restaurants, and it's not to say what I'm gonna do is good for everybody. Crohn's affects people in different ways, and that's the hard part about it. Maybe some things that I can't eat, maybe you can. Maybe some things you can eat, I can't. That's kind of the weird thing, really. But I will say from a dietary standpoint, I'm pretty strict. I'm very hesitant to try new things, which is something that my nutritionist and wife and doctor have pushed a little bit. Just, be careful with it. And that's something that I really hesitant to do, but I'm really strict about. I think that's helped a lot. So, and then even now, ever since I've been diagnosed, first of all, coming back home and seeing my daughter again, she was so happy to see me, but discovering that she herself can't eat dairy very much at all, really. She gets a bit inflamed as well. And now I feel like for me, that's something she and I can bond over, because we can't have cheese. We have to have dairy-free cheese. We have to have special, if we ever get something from Mod Pizza, that's the place you might see me go. Let's go, Mod Pizza. We got to get the pizza with the dairy-free cheese, the special cheese as we call it. So, but yeah, that's really kind of the point of what this is going to be about. I just wanted to start off with telling my story. I hope you'll keep watching, and see you.